Hi guys, my name is Sanmeet Singh Walia, founder of DataVinci Analytics Agency and CRO consultant at Atkins Agency. I'm starting a video series in which I would be auditing the analytics implementation of various websites. I would provide my take on what should these websites do so that they have a very solid foundation of data to drive digital decisions. Having said that, this is going to be the first video. So if you feel I can do something better or there are any mistakes, just provide a feedback and I would incorporate that into the future videos. Alright, let's get started. So the website that I'm going to audit for today's session is Bahn.de. So what is Bahn.de? Bahn is actually a German site, and this site allows the visitors to book train tickets for Germany as well as for travel in Europe. So it is using Adobe Analytics, and we would debug how the implementation has been done and see what we can learn from there. Right. So I'm actually not directly going to the website and rather using Google search because I want to see how they are tracking marketing information. So what I'm going to further do, I will not make it organic, but I will make it something like paid. Okay. So come on, get clicked. Well, do I'll append query parameters. So they might be using events, either something like CID equal to test, or they might be using some kind of UTM parameter. Now, if I click on this, I would be taken to the site with these UTM parameters instead of the visit being organic. All right. So what we can see, they are using the visitor ID service, they are using Audience Manager, and they are using Adobe Analytics. Right. Let's go through the page first. So this is the main widget with which most of the users would interact. This allows users to book the ticket. This is like the to station, from station, the date, the time, and this is the search button. This is something to find the deals, any kind of super saver packages and things like that. This is to find the punctuality of the train, as in what is the current schedule of the train. And this is your booking. So if the user has logged in, as you can see, it's a login button, they can find their travel history. They can enter their PNR or things like that. Okay. Now, here it's a banner, and then they're telling about the tickets, the various services, card. This is something for executives, and this is a newsletter subscription. Here again, they have a banner. These are the various social media links, and then these are the links to the apps, and these are the various payment links. All right. So if I comment about the user experience, then what are the things that can be improved here? First thing I would like to say that here it's a language selector, right? So I think that many people can miss this since it is having a very consistent theme and it can blend with the rest of the page. So perhaps we can add something like a flag over here and make the drop down also more highlighted so that people know that they can click over here and select their language. So that would be a better user experience. I appreciate that they have added these things which allows the users to increase the font so that it would assist people with all kinds of eye vision, right? And here these are like hyperlinks, but I feel that instead of putting these at hyperlinks, they should have rather put a button over here, so that would have highlighted these links better, and it would have been easier for the users to navigate using these buttons. Similarly, for the newsletter, I feel that a different color could have been chosen, a color which is more contrasting with the rest of the things, something like a shade of blue or shade of green, something like that, right? Social media links are usually placed at the bottom. If it is on top right, they can bring it up. These, I think, could have been made in the true colors of the various payment methods, because that would have made users more familiar with these logos and icons, and the difficulty to miss them out, or the chances of miss them out, are reduced. These, which are the apps, I believe that since it's a ticket booking platform, so apps can be of great use for the people. And since they have already created the apps, these things should have been brought somewhere on top as well, so that this would have promoted the app downloads. And I feel that they would have also preferred if more and more users download the app, right? Let's have a look at the mobile experience as well. So if I just refresh it. So here further, the language selector gets hidden. See, this is a language selector. I think this can be brought out of the burger menu, right? Rest these things are fine. This seems like they are putting up a message for travel, which is for the this situation of coronavirus pandemic. So this could have been highlighted better. I would use a different form and make it more dynamic, some kind of thing that is having any animation, so that this stresses on the point that please travel only when required. Some kind of alert or some kind of request or something like that could also have been put to stress this out. Here again, there are widgets. So on mobile, it is easier to miss these links. So it would have been better if they would put buttons over here instead of just plain links, right? So same thing here in mobile. Further, this becomes at a very low level, right? It is pretty deep in the experience. So I would bring these up so that it drives the various mobile app downloads. All right. So let's see what they are tracking. So these are the various clicks. What is tracking? Hmm. So this is tracking the interactions with these widgets. I'll go back to the desktop view, right? So let's see. So we have the channel, which is your site section. We have two events, event 45, 46. We have the page name, which seems something that has been created by using the URL only. All right. They are using the first party cookie service. There's marketing cloud visitor ID. This one, prop 4, is recording the channel. This one, prop 22, is recording the URL. This one is recording the page name, prop 24. Prop 4 is recording channel, prop 24 is recording page name. This is the status of the session, where log out or log in. This is dynamic variable prefixing. Okay, so why is this used? So what we are telling the server, that whenever this thing is passed as d equal to v75, so what we are suggesting is that whatever is value of evar75, pass the same value to prop75. What is the utility of this thing? So whatever is getting passed to the analytics server, it is getting passed in the form of this request. Okay, so when we pass it as a dynamic variable prefix, it considerably reduces the size of the request, the length of this string. So the chances of this request getting truncated at the URL level is very much reduced, and also the load of the request is reduced, right? So they have used this for evar75, which is again recording the URL. So I think this could have been used for other things as well, like they are using it for page name, but like logout has been repeated here. Similarly, channel has been repeated here. So the same thing could have been used for others as well. So this is hierarchy variable. This is again context data. So how would you set the context data? You would use the processing rules to set these values. So I believe they are using processing rules at the admin to pass these values into the various custom dimensions like prop evars. So this is the first page of the visit, which is true. This is the load time, which whatever might have been the load time. uh, I'm not sure what is the value, because 40 seconds was not the load time, so it's a different metric, I believe, other than seconds. This is orientation, which is, yeah, landscape. And the device is desktop. This is again things to do with the audience manager, AM. Okay, right. So we saw that they have recorded it whenever we are interacting with these things. So they're passing it, and they're passing it in context variable. Again, there's no custom dimension here. They are, again, I believe that using processing rules to find or calculate the interactions with these widgets. But I feel that they could have used scroll depth tracking as well. Okay, because there is plenty of information on the page, so they need to see that whether users are scrolling down or not, right? Because what's the use of a landing page? So landing page essentially solves three purposes. One is it provides information about the site. It's like an introduction to the site. Second is it guides the user to the objectives of the site. So in this case, the objective is to book tickets. And third is it captures the marketing information. All right. So based on the information that is getting recorded over here, what would be my recommendations? So the first thing that I would say, as I just mentioned, that dynamic variable prefixing can be used for other variables as well. The second thing, they are recording the URL, right? But here I have parser parameters as well. So I think they can use two variables to record the URL, one with the query parameters and one without the query parameters. Because if in case they want to debug their marketing campaigns, and in certain situations where the parameter is required, then that dimension would help a lot. All right. Uh, the other thing also I would like to say is they should have a custom dimension to record the referrer as well, because what happens is that the Adobe Analytics by default records the referrer, but the referrer is only recorded when it's external referrer. Okay, so if you use your custom referrer, so you would be able to record your internal referrer as well. So what would be the use case for such thing? Suppose you are having some kind of redirection, okay, and you are not aware of that. Your tech team has set some kind of redirection, but you are not aware of that. And that redirect, the page that is having that redirection is not having any kind of Adobe Analytics setup, or let's suppose it's redirecting so fast that analytics requests are getting missed out. So in that case, whatever campaigns you are running to send the traffic to that page, right? So those marketing information, the referrer, the query parameters, they would get lost in the redirection, right? So whatever conversions then eventually get made would be attributed to your internal channel instead of your actual channel that brought the users to the site. So having a custom referrer helps a lot in making sure that you are tracking all the information properly in case of any kind of redirect, or if you want to debug your campaign. So find out situations in which you feel that for certain pages your marketing is your Adobe Analytics pixel is not firing properly. The session is starting just in between according to Adobe Analytics, which you feel intuitively cannot be the case. All right. And lastly, as I said, that I would suggest tracking the scroll depth to see how deep the users are scrolling. Okay. This is a German site which is in Europe, and Europe follows a GDPR. This site is using analytics, which is using cookies to track user behavior, but there is no intimation that I saw for the user that we are using cookies to track your behavior, and yada yada yada, whatever is a general script that is followed. So one might argue that this is actually a government site, so perhaps that is not relevant for them. But how would the user know that this thing is relevant for government and this thing is relevant only for the private sites? So that can confuse certain users who are particular about this particular thing, that I would only use a website that has that cookie policy. You might not be that user, but trust me, there are many users like that who are very particular about their privacy, and that's why a law like GDPR exists. Okay, so even though that is not applicable to the site, but since it belongs to a region where the user can expect that thing, I feel that that should be added, because there's no harm in telling the user that you are using cookies and just to seek their consent. Okay. The other thing that I noticed was these interactions are not getting recorded. This is not getting recorded. Okay. If I click on this thing, this is not getting recorded. If I click on this thing, this is not getting recorded. Now these interactions, we should record them. Now one might argue that recording such interactions, we might not get data that is very insightful. So my counter argument is that the objective of data is not just to report the numbers, but the objective of the data is also to set certain benchmarks. Now take a use case that suddenly there is a release by Google Chrome, and because of that, your site is not compatible with a certain version of Google Chrome, and because of that, this widget is no longer visible to the users. So if the widget is not visible to the users cannot interact with these buttons. You would see a drop in orders. Perhaps you would go and debug the site and you would see that everything is working fine for you because you are using a different browser. But it is not working for a certain section of users. Now, if you track this and you create a calculated metric, which is percentage homepage sessions with this interaction, right, or any interaction on this form, then you can have that as a benchmark, a trended benchmark. On top of that, you do not need to view this report regularly. You do not need to report these numbers regularly. You can just set an automated alert on that and put some anomaly detection on top of it. So if the number crosses below a certain benchmark, then you would automatically get an alert that something is fishy. Please have a look. And then perhaps you can raise it with the concerned tech team, concerned IT team, and get that resolved and nip the problem in the bud itself. If you are not tracking these things, if you run any kind of experiments to optimize the user experience, you run experiments to change the sequence of these things, you add something new and you want to see how the users are viewing that content, then if you're not tracking it, you would not know how the users are interacting with it. This thing, and I'm pretty sure that there might be some option here that is leading the users to the same page, right? So how would you know user is using this to interact or user is using this to interact? Because this is your website's real estate. You need to use it properly for the maximum returns, right? If you're concerned about the server calls, as far as I know, Adobe charges only for the primary server calls, which are your page load calls. You are not charged for secondary server calls, which are the link tracking calls. Okay, so don't worry about server calls, and whatever are the key things that should be tracked, that affects your user behavior, that if it goes wrong can affect your revenue and other KPIs, should be tracked. All right. Right. Moving forward, let's select something. So what do we have here? There's a new channel. Okay, so just let's record this. This is now beginning of some kind of checkout funnel, right? So and we have to select some other station. So let's try this one, and I will select this. Now none of these interactions are getting tracked. If I want to see a stepwise flow of which selections, after which selections the user drops out of a form, right? So I would not be able to see that, because if you want to optimize your user experience, you want to optimize your user flow, everything should be tracked, I believe. And you would then create trends of that thing and then run various experiments to over and in time just try to improve the conversion rates incrementally at each step, which in general after some time would contribute to a rise in conversion rate overall. That's my personal opinion. Okay, so this is an error, right? So firstly, we did not see any image request for this error page. Secondly, if this error would have been there, so what I would expect is first some kind of code to identify why this error came. The problem about earlier that I discussed about previous page, so that is not getting tracked here. So if you look at the image request right now, the previous page name is not getting tracked that I saw. And if we were tracked previous page name, then we would see that how are people landing on the various error page, and that helps us in resolving the errors for the user. In terms of UX, I would suggest keeping some kind of text box over here with the user can fill and provide us feedback on how they got to this error. So this might be because of the certain user behavior, but suppose there is a technical glitch and many people are facing that error, and we are not able to find out that why they're facing that error. So if the user provide that feedback, we can do some kind of text analysis on that and try to resolve the error quicker. So in general, I feel that wherever the users get to see error, various error messages, various error pages, some kind of drop box should be there to provide the feedback to the users. Hmm. So now, so if two image requests are same, so that would look at some kind of redirect or same multiple page loads, but actually that is happening because of error that inside we would not have because we were not tracking that. Okay, so what do we have here? We have the a new variable of prop 10 has come. I think earlier it was not there. Yeah, so prop 10 is not there. Prop 10 is recording. Mm, Not sure what prop 10 is recording, but dynamic variable prefix could have been used. Here is a link which is for Suchin or Sukin. I do not know what's the correct pronunciation. Apologies for that, but that is the search which we did on the homepage. So that is perhaps suggesting that people clicked on search button on this page, and that's why they landed here. So perhaps that is getting used to track that button, but that is getting tracked in a different page. I would prefer that the tracking of that interaction should happen on that page itself before user lands here, because if the tracking is being done of that on that page itself, that tells us that there was an intent from the side of the user. So if you are seeing the stepwise conversion rate, and you see that there is a drop in conversion rate, a stepwise conversion rate, then whether that drop is because of the drop in user intent, or that drop is because there is some kind of issue because of it the page is not loading. So both the things are important in my experience. We need to track both the things. So we have to perhaps again select something here. Select Stuttgart. One. And is any of this getting tracked? No. These things should be tracked. Again, here there is no call for tracking this. I am assuming that they would have still the context variables to track that, like here it is there, which is the previous page, but it is happening on the next page, right? I believe you're getting my point. Now, what new we have? So here it is again similar to what we had on the previous page, I believe. So I'm not sure how this is, what this is telling, because if it's like content, then this should also be same. Is this same? This is same because it's a proper implementation, because that's a collection of similar pages. So that is fine. We have certain new variables. These are the selections that we made in the previous page. I believe that they are using some kind of regex, a comma separated regex, to classify this report into sub reports. They are using classification rule builder to, and using regex based classification to classify them into different reports, because otherwise it's difficult to uh, make insights out of this data, right? These are the other things that we provided as input on the previous page. I feel that there's plenty of opportunity to use dynamic variable prefixing because the information seems redundant. We are using list var here now. Earlier we were using hierarchy variable, which has not been continued to this page. So this could have been continued to this page as well. Now let's see if any of these things are getting recorded. No, if this is getting recorded. No, this should be recorded, because how would otherwise the company know that whether the placement of these things is proper or not? Can that be placed here, here somewhere, right? To improve the visibility, if they are, if they really want to push these things, then it can be placed somewhere higher as well, or at least the tracking should be done to find out that what percentage of users are interacting with these things, so that they can incrementally improve the interaction rate. Let's look here. Now finally we have the product variables. This is regarding there is no product event, there is no prod view, sc add, or anything like that. So this is actually a prod view. This is the impression of all these things. So this is here. So this is impression of these options that are being shown to the user, and they're tracking only the product name. See, in the syntax of product variable, the first one is for category, then there's price, then there's product name, product category, product name, there's price, there's quantity, merchandising variable, and merchandising events, or events, I believe, something like that. So everything else is blank, and here in between you will see a comma. So the syntax is like that within the same product everything is separated by a semicolon, and different products are separated by commas. This seems like this is again the repetition of the product variable. So here also I believe that dynamic variable prefixing could have been used. These again, these things are whatever selections we made on the previous page. Here as well I feel that dynamic variable prefixing should have been used, because this information is redundant. It would increase the size of the uh, image request that we are making to Adobe. Hmm. Now we have certain new events which might be mapped for user behavior, but the product has changed. This, since the previous page was considered like a product view, this step can be considered like a product add. So I would suggest that sc add should have been used over here, because this then could have been considered as add to cart with the various information on the value that has been added to cart. Okay, so we have one, we have two, we have three, and four. I'm not sure about the syntax, because one, two, and three, there are actually more variables in the product syntax. So I'm not sure whether passing the less number of variables would result in some kind of error at the processing or not. I hope that is not doing that, but usually I would expect, I think, two more semicolons which are not having any values. What I understand is this is price, this is quantity, because 8.4 euros was our price. This is quantity. This is product name. This is product category. There is a place for merchandising EVAR as well. That has not been done here. So I would expect that to be left blank. Prop 3 is anonym. because perhaps we have not provided any details yet. Um, the other things have not been provided. Hierarchy has come again, which was missing for few steps. So that is some inconsistency that can be taken care of, right? So let's interact further. So this, I believe, is for regular users and who can log in and just access their account. Let's use Google Translate to find out the other things. What is this? We like to register, so this is for registration. Okay. And what is this? I want to book without registration. Uh, let's take without registration for now because I believe it might ask some kind of passport details and or any kind of personal details which I'm not comfortable putting in it in a screen share session. Now here again, the product has been used without merchandising and other things, and there is no product variable. Event 15 is new. Event 286 was on previous page as well. I missed looking at event 15. Event 45 has been there for all the pages, but I feel that this could have been added as an SC checkout. So that would give out of box product report. Still anonym. Hierarchy variable is coming, and this is for the previous page, the link interaction. Hmm. The other things that were recorded on regarding the product selection or the ticket selection, they are not being passed here. I think that is not required because anyway they have been passed in EVARs as well, so they would persist. So if they are anyway persisting and it's not changing, then that information would be mapped to these things as well. So that is a wise thing because they are not passing redundant information, which would in turn increase the length of this variable. I would still suggest again stress on this thing that these interactions should be tracked. So Voraname is first name, and this is last name. Let's take this. Uh, right. Okay, so even 287 has come, which so okay. So I think that perhaps there is a sequence of 285, 286, 287, which is for the various steps of the checkout. So, but I am not sure whether those events would work with the products report properly because your product event is supposed to work with the product events. You need to cross check that perhaps it is working for them, but ideally I would say that why break the consistency if you're using product variables, why not use default product events as well, like SC add, SC checkout, and things like that. Hmm. So what else is there? Anyway, let's continue with filling the form. Email, let's say test at meet test. Just adding test 1 2 3 4. What is this? street house number. So for this, what we can do, we can use fake address generator. Germany. Hmm. So this is what. Yeah, let's see. Let's put so to be the postcode. What place? So not mandatory. So I'll leave that. This is not mandatory. I'll leave that. Now I would like to see whether they are tracking the payment method or not. See, so that was not passed because you want to see what is the payment method the user is using to process any kind of order. Because in case there is some issue at the end of the payment window, right? So, and you see a drop in conversion rate, it's a very good report to see that why the issue is happening, right? So you can break it down by the payment method, and then you can see that this particular issue has risen because of that. I think this is like the site is redirecting you to PayPal. Please wait. I'm assuming that is what it is saying. Yes. But anyway, I feel that after this, we would be taken to the PayPal page where the user is expected to provide the payment information and then the order would be processed. I obviously cannot go to the order confirmation page, make a payment, and just check for refund and things like that. But let's see. Here we have some kind of error, unexpected error, process request logged. We apologize. Okay. So is the error getting logged here? Yeah, the error is coming here, which is a good thing. It is getting recorded in a page name, but and prop 48 is being used. Some kind of token refresh problem. I would use that in an EVAR as well because this is related to conversions. So this should be recorded in an EVAR as well because anything that is affecting your conversions, an error definitely affects your conversions, should be recorded in EVAR, right? So what else? I think this is enough because beyond this, the retention of the most of the viewers would also drop. And I think this was pretty insightful. We covered a lot of things. We discovered the various practices that I feel should be implemented on this particular website. We discussed UX as well. But if you feel that something can be improved in the next session, please do that. I will take a quick opportunity to tell you about us, DataVinci, and I would also request you to join our Facebook group and where I regularly share the insights on analytics and things like that. You can find the quick link on our website, right? So we are analytics agency, and we provide all the services: tag management, analysis, reporting, dashboarding, and CRO. The advantage of working with us is that if you work with us, you do not need different experts to take care of these things. One contract, what, just pay us like an employee and we'll take care of everything. We are skilled in Adobe Analytics, entire stack. We are skilled in Telium, entire Google marketing platform. And you can find more details in the website, right? So just let me know what you feel about this session. I wish you a very productive rest of the day. Take care. Bye.